on. All right, so what are you going to be working on tomorrow during your lesson?
Tomorrow we're going to start off with a mini lesson, and I'm going to do a read aloud book with the kids. And we've been talking about our cafe menu. So we've been doing comprehension, accuracy, fluency, and expanding our vocabulary. So tomorrow we're going to focus on comprehension, and we're going to really think about making predictions. So as I read the picture book, they're going to stop and make predictions a bunch of times. And they've done this a bunch, so they should be pretty good with it.
Okay.
And then afterwards, our goal for the independent reading time will be their kids are going to be working on making their own predictions in their reading. So some of them might do post-it notes, some of them have their readers' notebooks, and they'll write it in there. Okay. And as they're working, I'll conference with some of the kids, probably 4 or 5 kids. And while we're conferencing, we'll talk about predictions, but we'll also make independent reading goals, which could be predictions, but it could be anything.
Okay, so have you set those goals with them yet, or are you continuing to work on
at this point, everybody has a goal. So we're going to kind of talk about what their goal was, and then we'll decide if we're going to keep the goal or if we're going to change it. Sometimes they like to keep it, sometimes it'll change. So it'll kind of be based on our discussions.
Okay, and how do you decide whether or not they've achieved their goal?
What we do is I make them kind of show evidence, so they have to bring their readers' notebooks, and if they're doing predictions, they have to have predictions, as well as were their predictions correct. And then I kind of let them think about it, do you feel really good about this? If you do, let's move on, but if you think you need more practice, and I kind of leave it on them too, but they have to have some kind of evidence to prove that they're ready to move on.
Okay, so what observations or data did you have to support that your students needed help with making predictions?
We spent a long time, we started with the MAP scores because they kind of divided up into what it is. And so as a 4th grade team, we kind of pulled them apart and said where everybody falls. And so a lot of them, they were still on the comprehension where they need predictions, they need those kind of things. A little bit with the DRA scores, but also just from conversations, just from our small conferences.
Okay. And then during that independent time that you're conferencing with kids, how are you determining whether or not the students are reading just right text? How do you know that it's books at their appropriate level, interests that they're involved in? How do you determine that?
When we have our conferences, I usually start off by saying, tell me a little bit about your book. And if they're somebody who has to go back and read sentence by sentence to tell me, they probably have no idea. Right. But if they're able to retell a little bit and even have some opinions about it, it's probably a just right book for them.
Okay.
And if it's not just right, I'll be all right, we can try this a little bit longer if you want, or I might go over and give them the 3 or 4 books to think about.
Okay, so you introduce new text to them. Okay. And then after you do the conferences, how will you know that your students as a whole, not just those 5 or 6 kids that you conference with, how will you know if they actually practiced using predictions in their just right text?
Whatever their goal is, they have to record it in their reader's notebook. So every day they should all have a reader's notebook out. And whether it's making predictions and they put their predictions on Post-its in their reader's notebook when they're done, or they write about it, but they should have some kind of written evidence in their reader's notebook about what they're thinking about.
Okay. Do you have any opportunities in your lesson that students share out or share with a partner or share with you?
During our mini lesson, they'll all make predictions and they'll share right then.
Just want to make sure, did you find that email from Martha about the book talk thing?
Yes.
Alright.
She's videotaping. Sorry.
You're on it.
But yes, I did. Thank you.
There was no sign. You said you had a sign.
It's different videotaping.
And then tomorrow, I don't know if they'll have a chance to share, but a lot of times we do book shares where I give them a half hour where they come down to the floor with their books and they get to talk about what they're excited about. So sometimes it's just this book is awesome and they hold it up, or sometimes they read a little bit or they share. And I try to do that once a week, but I don't know if it'll be tomorrow.
Okay. And that's once a week?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good idea. I might have to steal that idea. So your overall goal for the lesson is for them to
make predictions as they read. Yes.
As they read. Okay. And then, what is your plan for future teaching involving this lesson's practices?
Eventually, I want them to be able to just make predictions as they read without having to write it down. So we kind of been talking about how good readers, they make predictions even without writing it down. So kind of make it something they do intrinsically without me saying you have to do it. And we'll have some kind of a formal assessment, probably in a month or so, where I'm giving them some kind of a text. They have to read it and make their predictions and kind of see if their predictions are right.
Excellent.